over 20 years of experience in consumer goods, marketing, sales, and general management. Chris is also in charge of overseeing all aspects of Keurig's corporate initiatives responsibilities. He has been an angel investor in various startups, has experience in broadcasting, voiceovers, is an author, and is the co-executive producer of the movie 3 Day. He is also a father of 5. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Chris Stevens to the stage.
Thank you, Evan. Can you all hear me? Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, live from Chicago, Illinois. So, I was hoping to have a little bit more of a better turnout, but this will do. CEO, look where you've come since 1983. 1,400 strong out there learning about how to become an entrepreneur. Now, are you sure you want to do this? 70, 90, 65, and 260. 70% of all startups fail. 90% of all new products in startups fail. And 65% of all new products in established companies fail. $260 billion are spent every year on failed startups. So you know what you think, but yet this is America. This is how we can get things done. We got to start up. This is why you're here. But there's also success stories, and I'm very, very privileged to be one of them in terms of the Keurig Premium Coffee System. I was actually, I don't have my credentials on. I'm sorry I was a bit late getting here. I was driving up the tollway. I'm teaching part-time at Notre Dame in the business school, and right on. And I got to tell you, the Bears are 5-1. Notre Dame is undefeated. And in 4 days, we don't have to hear the expression, I'm so-and-so, and I paid for this message anymore. So all is right with the world. So anyway, so I'm driving up the toll road, and there was an accident there, and I had to get off the toll road, and I got a chance to explore the back roads of Indiana a little bit. So I was driving here, and the reason I was a bit late, because I went by this one house and had a sign in front that said, talking dog for sale. Talking dog for sale. So I stopped my car, backed up, went over and I knocked on it. I said, you got a talking dog? He said, yeah, I do. He's around back. So I went around back, and there's this big old black lab sitting there. I said, you can talk? He said, why, yes, I can. I said, why don't you tell me about that? He said, well, actually, I learned to talk at a very young age, and my owner told the CIA about it. They put me in the CIA. I flew around the world and rooted out a bunch of spies. They gave me a lot of rewards for that. And then I got tired of that, and so I went into the airport security business, and I rooted out a bunch of terrorists. I got tired of traveling there, and I settled down right here in Indiana, and I had a few puppies. I said, that's amazing. I went back to the front door, and I said to the guy, that's an incredible dog. How much is he? He said, $10. I said, $10? Why do you want to sell a dog like that so cheap? He said, because he's a liar. He didn't do none of that stuff. So, Indiana. But you didn't come here to hear me crack jokes. It's great going back to Notre Dame to teach. I actually went there and played ball back there in the early 70s. I scored the first 2 points of the Digger-Phelps era. And I went on from there and played some pro ball in Europe. Was blessed to be on the team that knocked off UCLA's 88-game winning streak. So they tried us back every 5 years to tell everybody about that. But it's fun. Then I got into Anheuser-Busch. I became president of an Anheuser-Busch distributorship. And you want to talk about fun going back to Notre Dame reunions. You're going to go back for your reunions, and everybody's going, hey, dude, what are you doing, man? What are you doing? I'm an investment banker. I'm a doctor. I'm a lawyer. Chris, what do you do? I said, I'm in the beer business. Come to think of it, I'm the only guy I know who actually pursued his college major. And that's what we did. That was a long time ago. But with Keurig, I did some big things in terms of Anheuser-Busch and Procter & Gamble. I found out after 5 moves in 5 years with Procter & Gamble, P&G doesn't stand for Procter & Gamble, it stands for Pack and Go. And then I decided I wanted to do something different. I wanted to do a startup. And I kept looking for an opportunity and an idea. And I stumbled upon 2 guys that had the idea of brewing coffee 1 cup at a time. In those days, 17 years ago, Starbucks was really gaining momentum. Dunkin' Donuts was no longer about Fred the Baker, but about fresh coffee. People were leaving the office where they had coffee for free and going down 5 flights of stairs, going across the street, and paying $1.50 to get a freshly brewed cup of coffee. So we thought if we could get people to drink it and brew it a cup at a time, we'd have no waste, no cleanup, no waste, no cleanup, and no hassle. And that's what we did. So you're going to have ideas, and you're doing your elevator speeches and stuff, so let me give you a few thoughts about starting up. Based on mistakes that we made, based on opportunities and things I've seen along the way. Who's your consumer? Who's going to buy your idea? How much are they willing to pay? Where does she shop? Where does she buy? Where does she like to be able to do business? You need to get as close to your potential consumer as possible with your idea. How are you going to make money? What happens if this thing takes off? Are you going to be ready when your ship comes in? Everyone has the will to prepare, said Bobby Knight, but few had the will to prepare to win. So in terms of startups and an entrepreneurial type of an idea, for Keurig, we first started in offices. I got 25 beta units, we cobbled them together, we went out, we all sold our houses, we traded down, we took equity as opposed to salary, and with 5 kids that was a challenge. But you can either be involved or committed. It reminds me in terms of breakfast, I was having ham and eggs at breakfast the other day, and it reminded me, I said, you know, the chicken was involved in this breakfast, the pig was committed. And it's kind of like if you want to do a startup and you want to be an entrepreneur, you need to be committed to your dream. Dreams. Walt Disney once said, if you can dream it, you can do it. Marianne Rademacher said, stand often in the company of dreamers because they believe you can do impossible things. Let your dreams bind your work to your play in the movie The Land of Time. And Eleanor Roosevelt said, the future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams. You gotta have a dream. Our dream was to change the coffee world 1 cup at a time. And yeah, there were bumps along the way. We almost shut it down several times. And you know, it's one of those, Dolly Parton once said, to enjoy the beauty of a rainbow, sometimes you gotta put up a little bit of rain. Expect that you're gonna fall down. It's not how badly you fail in life that matters. It's how high you bounce back. Look at Michael Vick. Quarterback, made some horrible mistakes, paid a horrible price, went to jail, lost his multi-million-dollar contract, made his way back, and now he's a spokesman for SPCA because he knew he did the wrong thing. Respect is built up through hundreds of positive deeds and destroyed by one stupid one. Integrity retained in business is invaluable. Trust me, integrity lost is irretrievable. I think about different products that try to take shortcuts to be able to appease consumers because sales are too fast. Quality has to be job number 1. So when you think about it, and you think about your plan, think about your dream. Most of you are in college still. What is your plan? A dream is just a dream until you write it down. Write it down on an Excel spreadsheet and turn it into a goal and an objective. Partner with somebody who's got similar aspirations as you do. I remember when I was a district manager for P&G, I'd been in Chicago, Pittsburgh, Detroit, Cincinnati, Boston. I was 27 years old. My roommate from college came out. We had dinner together. And I could tell he was kind of struggling. I didn't want to go back to Cincinnati and sell more soap, although I loved P&G. And we're sitting there, and I said, you doing okay? He says, no, I'm just bored. This is not me. And I said, you know what? I am too. I said, I got an idea. I'm going to write down on a piece of paper here where I want to be, what I want to be doing, and how much money I want to be making in 2 years. You do the same thing. We're going to seal them in an envelope, and 2 years from tonight, we're going to get together. We're going to open that envelope in a restaurant in Los Angeles where you live. And whoever did the worst job on achieving their goal has got to pick up dinner tab. Deal? He said, deal. I was galvanized that night. I was not going to lose to Jerry Samaniego. I ended up making the change from Procter & Gamble, became president of an AB distributorship, and was able to acquire new skills and abilities. And so it's one of those things, think about partnering with somebody. Hold yourselves accountable. A lot of times when people work out, they work out in tandems together, particularly if they have a difficult time sticking to the schedule. Get yourself a partner. Hold each other accountable. Then you're teammates for your dream. And then when you get into business and you think about who you want to partner with, don't always partner with somebody who's got skills like you. Partner with somebody who's got complementary skills. And remember this, if 2 partners always agree in business, one of them is unnecessary. So partner with somebody. If you're the person out, I was the marketing, branding, sales, distribution guy. Another of my partners was he was the warehousing, manufacturing. Another guy was the finance guy. How are we going to take this thing public? But when you have your opportunity to be able to take your idea and bring it to marketplace, remember this. Colleges business schools will teach you a lot about accounting, finance, management, marketing, business ethics. But what I don't think colleges are good enough to teach or do well enough, and maybe one of your universities has got it. Nothing happens till somebody sells something. If you're an entrepreneur, you are constantly selling. You've got to sell investors on investing their hard-earned money in your dream. You've got to sell creditors on extending terms of you when you hit rocky times. You've got to sell your employees on buying in on the program that you've got. You've got to sell consumers to reach into their pocketbook and pull out money for your product or your service. If you can't sell, find somebody who can talk the paint off of a Buick. Find somebody that can help you realize your dream. That's really, really, really important. And you know, if I think about some of the setbacks that we've had, we almost went out of business 3 or 4 different times. And a lot of it was because of just mistakes we made. We were moving too fast. We lost control of our supplier who changed the spec on a part. But the bottom line came out to selling. Most startups fail because of one reason. You didn't sell enough product. So it's all about selling. Anybody know who Joe Girard is? Raise your hand. Joe Girard. You know Joanne? Joe Girard? For those of you who don't know, Joe Girard, born in Detroit, Italian family, lower income. Father used to beat him all the time. Shining shoes when he was 9 years old, delivering papers when he was 11 years old, got kicked out of high school, got kicked out of the Army, bounced around some different jobs, got married, had a child. At the age of 35, Joe Girard could not feed his family. He was $60,000 in debt. Convinced a guy who ran a car dealership outside of Detroit to hire him as a salesperson. When he got there, got a couple of sales, and then they fired him because the other salesmen were jealous because this new kid sold cars and they wanted him out. Convinced another dealer to hire him, and he went on to sell 13,001 cars, 1 car at a time, out of a showroom in suburban Detroit. He averaged 6 new car sales a day. On his best day, 21 cars. You know how he did it? Customer intimacy. If you ever met Joe Girard, every month you got a card from him. He would get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and write cards. Birthday cards, anniversary cards, Ramadan, Easter, your son's birthday, your wedding anniversary, whatever it was, Joe Girard got close to you. So when it was time for you to buy a car, or you ran into somebody who needed a car, you went with Joe Girard. He's got books out there, and of all the things you do as an entrepreneur, if you want to learn how to sell, learn from Joe Girard. So I could go on and talk about a lot of different things. We're very blessed at Keurig. It's now a multi-billion-dollar enterprise growing. We were purchased by Green Mountain Coffee Roasters in 2006, and it's been an interesting ride. We've had some challenges stock value-wise over the course of the past year or so, but today's a good day. Stock's up, and we're rebuilding and doing some new things. We've launched our next generation brewing system, and we're excited about the future. So I guess I learned some stuff along the way, and I kind of wrote them down. I got my top 10 tips for living your dream. Set your goals high. Set your goals high, and they ought to follow criteria. Hey, I want to get a great job in sales. Hey, I want to launch my business next year. No. It's got to be specific, measurable, achievable, and compatible. It's got to be specific. By June the 13th of 2013, I want a job working for Deloitte Touche making $65,000 a year. By September the 1st, 2013, I want to launch my new app that I'm a startup in and make sure I've got the right funding in place. And then from that goal, lay out a plan that gets you there. Take whatever your targeted date was and make sure that it's realistic, that you can achieve it. Specific, measurable, achievable, and compatible. Compatible with the rest of your life. If you want to work for a consultant and you want to raise a small family, be a Little League coach, that probably is not going to work. 2, add a course this semester to whatever you're doing. That course is on your career. If you're taking 5 courses right now, make it 6. Carve out 4 hours a week, 5 hours a week, every single week. Dedicate the time to focus on networking, getting your startup idea, working on the intellectual property, whatever it may be. 3, partner with someone to stay on track. I kind of mentioned that before. Okay, when you go to an interview, what do you bring with you? Resume, what else? Business cards, anything else? Pad, references. Any photographers out here? Thank you. You know, when you're interviewing for a job or an opportunity, bring a portfolio. Create a portfolio for yourself that's got all the things that you've done that speak to the job that you're interviewing for. An Excel spreadsheet that you did, a PowerPoint presentation that was knock 'em dead, a letter that you got, you know, commending you for the charitable work that you did, your Phi Beta Kappa, your All-American letter. So when you get into an interview situation, somebody gives you that typical interview, Chris, can you tell me about a time when you, well, yeah, let me show you. And you take out this portfolio, oh, and on the cover page is his name, Chris Stevens, Keurig Incorporated, and then you put your name down there, Dan Wilson, a current profile, November the 2nd, 2012. You are selling, and if you do that, trust me, you will separate yourself from everybody else. Develop a portfolio, personalize it to the person in the company logo in the background. The sweetest thing to a person's ears is their own name. The sweetest thing to the person's eyes is their own name too. All right, develop a portfolio, and you will get what you want in life. Be nice to the people that you meet on the way up, because you never know who you can run to on the way down. I can tell you, when we started Keurig and I sold the house and traded down, and my 5 kids were looking at me going, dude, Dad, what are you doing? I tried to get some of my friends to let me put brewers in there for beta testing and set in their offices, and some of them did, some of them didn't. And so when 2008 hit, and Lehman Brothers went down, and all the, you know, the economic crash, I had, hey, Chris, man, I'm looking for a job. No, I didn't turn my back on them, but I thought to myself, man, when I needed you, you weren't there. Be nice to the people that you meet on the way up, because you never know who you can run to the way down. My favorite intersection in Chicago here is getting off the Dan Ryan at Garfield, because then I take Garfield straight up to Midway Airport, and I fly around the country from there. Anybody ever taken that intersection, that ramp right there? When you pull up at that stoplight, how about Storrow Drive, Boston? Anybody? Near the Coke factory, the Doubletree Hotel? Invariably, when you pull up that stoplight, who's there? A homeless person, right? I watch people tap their fingers, roll up the window, pray that the light turns green. How about you get out of your car, pull a $5 bill out of your pocket, walk up and introduce yourself. Sir, I'm Chris. What's your name? Leon. Nice to meet you, sir. You've got hope today. God bless you. Whatever you give in life, trust me, you will get back twice in return. And you will change his life that day. And that's a good thing. Number 6, learn how to sell. Be the Joe Girard of whatever it is that you do. Next, it's a busy world out there. Keep your higher power as your CEO. I don't know about you, but when I get going fast and I find myself trying to answer a text, driving 65 miles an hour, etc., and I'm thinking to myself, slow down, stop. I try to go to a quiet place, get outside of my head, ask my higher power for forgiveness of things I've done wrong, ask for the strength to make better decisions, and again, I just feel like a cleanly washed car. You ever see how a cleanly washed car just seems to run better? It's the same way when you get outside of yourself and ask for forgiveness, that the world does not rotate around you. Next to last, love your family. We don't all come from perfect homes. Love your family. Love your really close friends. I had 2 buddies of mine that got on an airplane September 11th a few years ago. I never said goodbye to. And I know one of their sons, the last thing he'd said to them the night before, because he was upset at his father, was not something very pretty. And he lived with that. God bless the victims of Hurricane Sandy. What will you do to maybe send a check or do something to try to help those people out? That hurricane not only will destroy businesses, it will destroy families. Love your family. And finally, any veterans here? God bless you. Thank you for serving. Anybody else have somebody in harm's way, a relative or a spouse or friend and neighbor? Take a look around. Not too many. Remember this. The blanket of freedom that we enjoy today that allows us to do this right here at CEO has been provided by those who've been willing to serve. I have 5 kids. I lost my wife to cancer 8 years ago. And I lost both my brothers the same year to a disease called Huntington's disease. We were foster kids, so we didn't know that our mother died of Huntington's. So it was a tough year. There were 5 teen suicides in our town. My son's best friend was killed in a single car accident 2 blocks from our house. It was a tough year on the kids. And I remember my son Connor went off to UMass Amherst, partied hard, came home and worked hard. He said, Dad, I got a 3.6 out of a 4.0, which means I qualify for the School of Management. Our country's at war. A lot of kids have to go in the military because they don't have many options. We do pretty well. So I've decided I'm going to go in the Marine Corps, take one of their spots, serve my country for 4 years, and when I get out, the GI Bill will pay for my education. And then all that money that you saved up for me, I get it, right? And I said, hey, you serve your country and I'll remember you. So when you're a parent, in this case a single parent, and you have a son that's in harm's way, he'll get a disability check for the rest of his life. He was hit. But you always worry about that knock on the door, that phone call. Anybody remember the movie Saving Private Ryan? Remember the beginning of that movie? The secretaries are typing, they find out there's not one, there's not two, there's been 3 Ryan brothers killed in action. And after the Sutherland brothers were all killed in the same ship in the Pacific, they changed the rules saying, hey, if there's something like that happens, there's another sibling out there, we're going to take him out of the theater and send him home. So they bring this information to the major, to the colonel, to the 1-star, and eventually to General Marshall, head of the European theater. And they say, General, there's been 3 Ryan brothers KIA'd. There's a 4th that parachuted in with 101st Normandy. We have no idea where he's at, but we wanted you to know that we can't follow protocol. He said, no, we're going to find him. I said, no, General, you understand? We have no, it's chaos. He said, we're going to find that boy and we're going to bring him home. You remember what he did? He said, I want to read you something. And he reached in and he pulled out a letter. And he read it to him and it said, I've been shown in the files of the War Department a letter from the Adjutant General that you are the mother of 5 sons who died gloriously on the field of battle. I feel how weak and fruitless must be any word of mine which should attempt to beguile you from the grief of a loss so overwhelming. But I cannot refrain from tending to the consolation that may be found in the thanks of a nation that they died to save. I pray that our Heavenly Father may assuage the anguish of your bereavement and leave you only the cherished memory of the loved and the lost and the solemn pride that must be yours to have laid so costly a sacrifice upon the altar of freedom. Abraham Lincoln wrote that letter to Mrs. Bixby in the Civil War. And if the President of the United States can take that time, we can take the time to honor our veterans, to send care packages, to hire them when they come home. So when you think about your family, think about not just the military, think about those firemen and those policemen who provide the blanket of freedom in our neighborhoods as well. So I leave you with this. Lou Holtz once said, when all is said and done, more is said than done. Be a person of your word. Be a person of character. I'm really, really pleased. Our company, we give back 5% of all of our profits towards corporate social responsibility initiatives. Whatever you give, you will get back twice in return. Set your goals high. Keep checking yourself. And remember, be nice to the people that you meet on the way up, because you never know who you'd run to on the way down. God bless you, and God bless our country.
I forgot something. We have a birthday, and I have a coffee brewer, and I want to give a birthday present. Daniel, happy birthday.
Awesome. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Daniel. Happy birthday to you.